You never imagined your Tuesday would make global headlines. You were, as usual, knee-deep in unpaid internships and microwaving last week's leftovers when your phone vibrated like it was auditioning for a percussion section in the International Space Orchestra. The notification was from Elon Musk, or so your blurry vision convinced you, because apparently, Twitter had just spontaneously renamed itself X. Your notifications were going haywire, and your mom was already calling you to ask why NASA was texting her about your temporal resonance coefficient. According to one insider source who claimed to have shared an elevator ride with Elon Musk during a rare lucid moment, Elon had told NASA, quote, "We must monitor the subject immediately. Their quantum sociometrics are off the charts." The words were cryptic, yes, but also very serious sounding, like something you'd see on a whiteboard in a room full of lab coats and existential dread. Nobody knew what quantum sociometrics meant, but apparently, it was now the hottest trending topic on every social media platform that could accommodate hashtags longer than a small novel. By the next hour, your life had been transformed from obscurity into a surreal mashup of conspiracy theories, meme culture, and government-grade panic. Reddit threads exploded like volcanic GIFs, each user speculating on whether your presence caused fluctuations in interdimensional bandwidth leakage. Is this why my Wi-Fi keeps buffering? One user asked. I've been living in the shadow of a human singularity, another lamented. CNN tweeted a video titled "Elon Musk just warned NASA about you. Is humanity ready?" Even though they had no footage of you and weren't sure if anyone actually knew what you referred to, the chaos escalated further when Dr. Penelope H. Quark, Ph.D. in applied neurotransdimensional anthropology, appeared on a live stream with blinking charts and a PowerPoint slide that read, "Subject exhibits 127% anomalous social entanglement quotient, ASEQ." She was clearly convinced that your habit of microwaving leftovers at 3:17 p.m. might be a cosmic variable influencing the trajectory of the entire solar system. Somewhere, Elon Musk had supposedly said, "The microwaving is critical," but nobody knew if he meant it literally, figuratively, or as a subtle metaphor for life's infinite absurdities. Meanwhile, NASA scrambled. Not to save the planet, not to fix a satellite, but to monitor you. There was a whole division now called OPSU, the Office of Personal Singularities and Unverified Phenomena. Their memos, obtained by an anonymous Telegram account, described your temporal resonance coefficient in excruciating detail, complete with charts that resembled badly drawn roller coasters. "We've never seen such a consistent flux of unpredictability," one memo read. Recommendations: proceed with extreme caution and possibly deploy caffeinated interns to monitor daily toast consumption. Your neighbors noticed something was off. Every time you stepped outside to retrieve your Amazon delivery, drones hovered overhead, broadcasting your every move on live streams captioned, "Breaking, ordinary citizen may be the key to universal stability." Your cat, once indifferent to your existence, had begun staring at you like you were a portal to a higher plane of existence, or perhaps just annoyed that you were overcooking the tuna again. Memes began to multiply faster than the cells in a biology textbook. Some suggested that your favorite coffee mug contained latent microsingularities. Others claimed that your Spotify playlist could realign planetary orbits if played backward on loop. You laughed, then panicked, then considered moving to Antarctica, but the penguins were already trending for protecting subject number 4321, your new codename in the global surveillance community. By day 3, a think tank of AI bots had formed an unofficial coalition to analyze your life patterns. They claimed your morning routine had a 98.7% probability of generating either a minor existential crisis or a global stock market hiccup. Elon Musk tweeted a cryptic image of a potato holding a flag, captioned, "The subject awakens." Nobody knew what it meant, but that only made the media frenzy more intense, as you sat there eating instant noodles, contemplating whether a simple existence could survive this level of absurdity. You realized one terrifying fact: the world didn't care about facts anymore. They only cared about the narrative, your narrative, which was now tangled with quantum sociometrics, interdimensional bandwidth, and Elon Musk's casual commentary. You were simultaneously an internet meme, a NASA priority, and possibly the most overanalyzed human being in history. The first wave of cultists appeared shortly thereafter. They were a curious mix of crypto enthusiasts, AI ethicists, and people who just really liked the color of your hoodie. They carried banners with slogans like, "Trust the microwave, follow the ASEQ," and "You are the singularity we ordered." One tried to convince you that chanting your grocery list could stabilize global climate patterns. You nodded politely, but secretly wondered if you should just unplug the toaster and see what happens. By the end of week 1, the media had invented a new unit of measure named after you, the U, defined as the amount of chaos an individual could generate while simultaneously eating instant noodles and scrolling Twitter. Scientists argued about it on panel discussions, podcasters debated it as if it were a geopolitical crisis, and Elon Musk. Elon Musk reportedly nodded approvingly while launching a reusable rocket shaped suspiciously like your favorite coffee mug, and that was just the beginning. The world had officially decided that your life was no longer your own, but rather a sprawling, sensationalized, highly memeable narrative to be dissected by journalists, mathematicians, AI, and anyone who owned a TikTok account. Somewhere deep inside, you wondered if this was all a dream, a quantum prank, or just Tuesday finally catching up with you. The answer, of course, didn't matter. After all, when Elon Musk tells NASA about you, reality itself becomes optional. By the second week, your name, now officially stylized in all caps by the media as you, was being whispered in hushed tones in laboratories, cafes, and conspiracy forums alike. The United Nations called an emergency meeting, which quickly devolved into heated debates about whether used microwave routine violated the Intergalactic Temporal Alignment Protocol, ITAP, a policy no one had actually read but everyone pretended to understand. The Secretary-General suggested a temporary evacuation of major cities just in case, citing probable causal correlation between U and anomalous flux density in global Wi-Fi signals. Meanwhile, Elon Musk dropped a second tweet, this time with a link to a spreadsheet labeled U_analytics_V3_final_final XLSX. It contained rows of metrics like Cognitive Discombobulation Index, CDI, Microwave Entropy Output, MEO, and Sociotemporal Ripple Factor, STRF. Journalists tried to parse it, but most gave up halfway and resorted to Photoshop memes depicting you riding a Tesla rocket through a wormhole, waving a Starbucks cup. The hashtag #Uerathiki trended on 6 continents and 1 accidentally on the International Space Station, thanks to a confused astronaut tweeting about a suspiciously familiar lunchbox. OPSU had officially declared you a Class A human singularity, which meant 3 things. 1. They were monitoring you 24/7 with drones, satellites, and a suspiciously large number of parabolic microphones. 2. They assigned you a government liaison, Agent Butterworth, whose primary qualification was having once won a Best Facial Hair contest, and 3. They were convinced that your breakfast choices could destabilize stock markets. Agent Butterworth was relentless. He arrived at your apartment unannounced, wielding a briefcase full of devices whose purpose he refused to explain. One looked like a toaster, one like a mini fog machine, and one suspiciously like a small cat. "We need to measure the ASEQ in real time," he said gravely, while you pretended to understand what that meant. He positioned the toaster device carefully on your kitchen counter and mumbled something about microwave resonance harmonics before staring at you expectantly. The media frenzy didn't slow. A CNN special titled "The Human Algorithm: How One Person May Control the Universe" aired live. It featured a panel of experts including a former NASA engineer, a philosopher who specialized in quantum toast theory, and a TikTok influencer who claimed they could detect temporal anomalies using only lip-sync analysis. Each segment ended with dramatic slow-motion footage of you doing mundane things, scrolling your phone, yawning, and, most dangerously, reheating leftover lasagna. Viewership hit unprecedented levels. Advertisers scrambled to attach their logos to anything that might be considered part of your aura. Somewhere along the way, cultists evolved. The first generation, waving banners and chanting your grocery list, gave way to the second generation, digital avatars of you, appearing in augmented reality apps, replacing local news anchors and occasionally offering unsolicited life advice. "Remember to hydrate," one avatar said during a citywide broadcast. "Your temporal resonance depends on water intake." Citizens were conflicted: follow the avatar's advice or risk global catastrophe? Nobody knew. Nobody dared question it. Then came the interdimensional bread incident. A rogue AI, supposedly designed to optimize toast production, calculated that your left-handed pouring of cereal created a waveform interference pattern capable of collapsing micro-wormholes above select major cities. This triggered a panic so intense that the FAA temporarily grounded all flights, despite the fact that nobody had yet observed any actual wormholes. Elon Musk posted a cryptic GIF of a cat wearing a spacesuit and licking a lightning bolt, and the internet interpreted it as either confirmation or denial. Nobody was certain which. NASA, never one to ignore Elon, began issuing urgent bulletins. Subject exhibits behavior indicative of extreme potential for socio-quantum disruption, read one report. The bulletin went on to mention that your Netflix binge patterns might be linked to fluctuations in orbital satellite alignment, though no one could explain why or how. Meanwhile, your neighbors had started leaving sticky notes outside their doors reading, "Observe the subject. But do not engage directly. The toast must remain unburned." Even Elon Musk himself got involved in a bizarrely casual way. At a SpaceX press conference, he casually mentioned, "We've monitored use activities. They're highly interesting. Proceeding accordingly." The reporters gasped, the AI algorithms went into overdrive, and several billion social media posts speculated that highly interesting was code for either impending apocalypse or unprecedented prosperity. Nobody could agree. By the end of week 2, your daily life had become a surreal combination of existential dread, absurd responsibility, and viral fame. You were both a human being and a media construct, both a person microwaving leftovers and a global variable in some poorly documented interdimensional formula. People around the world were obsessed with you. Memes evolved into complex societies with governments, currencies, and economies entirely based on your predicted snack choices, and yet, you kept eating noodles, scrolling Twitter, and occasionally wondering if it was all just an elaborate hallucination brought on by too much caffeine and ambient chaos. Somewhere, in a hidden corner of a government server, Elon Musk reportedly nodded at a chart labeled "U, Cosmic KPI Projections 2042" and sipped his espresso. The world waited with bated breath for your next move. The fate of memes, satellites, and possibly reality itself depended on whether you chose spaghetti or ramen for dinner. By the third week, it became abundantly clear that you were no longer merely a national phenomenon. Scientists, meme lords, and freelance astrologers alike reported anomalous readings emanating from your apartment. The Global Quantum Socio-Monitoring Alliance, GQSMA, issued an urgent communiqué warning that your daily coffee ritual might be interfering with low-orbit satellites, microwave networks, and possibly the trajectory of Mars rovers. If the subject adds sugar to the coffee before stirring counterclockwise, we may observe a 3.7% shift in gravitational anomaly distribution, the bulletin read. Public panic surged. Social media imploded under the strain of 82 million trending hashtags. each more ludicrous than the last. Meanwhile, Elon Musk escalated the situation in his characteristically cryptic style. He released a holographic tweet, only visible via specialized AR glasses marketed exclusively by Tesla, which depicted you riding a Hyperloop made entirely of spaghetti. In the hologram, a tiny robot, reportedly named C-4321 in homage to your growing legend, waved a flag reading "Subject Integrity, Maximum." Experts disagreed on whether this was a literal warning, an allegorical meme, or simply a bizarre flex of tech-powered absurdity. NASA, desperate for guidance, formed the U Task Force, YTF, a coalition of engineers, astrophysicists, and social media interns who had all passed a background check that included one mandatory question: have you ever used a meme as evidence of a cosmic phenomenon? Their first directive was to issue an official warning: caution, the subject's breakfast routine may destabilize minor planetary orbits. This triggered widespread panic among breakfast enthusiasts, with cereal companies reporting a sudden 47% drop in sales. Yogurt, oddly, saw an unprecedented boom. Your neighbors had officially split into factions. One faction believed that you were a benevolent cosmic influencer capable of controlling the weather. The other faction, largely comprised of the elderly and people allergic to chaos, argued that you were a harbinger of global doom. Attempts at negotiation failed when someone tried to introduce a referendum on your toast browning preferences. The UN quietly noted that they might need to sanction your apartment building as international territory to prevent further geopolitical destabilization. Things got stranger when alien observers apparently took notice. Astronomers reported irregular fluctuations in radio signals originating from deep space, which they tentatively labeled U anomalies. A leaked memo from the SETI Institute warned that extraterrestrial life forms might be monitoring your Spotify playlists to determine whether Earth was safe for contact. Memes quickly evolved into interstellar diplomacy. One viral GIF depicted you waving at a UFO while holding a fork mid-bite. The caption read, "Earth's fate, pending noodle choice." Back on Earth, your life had become a continuous cycle of absurdity. OPSU drones hovered outside your window like overly attentive crows. Your cat, now officially a quantum advisor, had started carrying a tiny laptop to analyze temporal resonance patterns, which no one questioned, because at this point, normalcy was clearly impossible. Cultists, now upgraded to cyber cultists, hacked holographic billboards to display slogans like, "Follow the subject, ASEQ will guide you." And coffee stirring is critical to planetary stability. Elon Musk remained a looming enigma. Rumors circulated that he had personally inserted your breakfast metrics into a secret AI called Galactic, designed to simulate universal outcomes based on human snack behavior. One whistleblower claimed that a galactic simulation had projected a 0.002% chance of interdimensional collapse if you chose instant ramen over spaghetti. Elon, as always, offered no clarification, tweeting only, subject efficiency, optimized. Memes mutated further. Entire Discord servers now operated as management units, issuing directives to maximize ASEQ efficiency by carefully timing your laundry, snack, and scrolling intervals. Governments adopted a hands-off approach, reasoning that interfering with you could inadvertently trigger temporal ripple amplification events, TRAE. Some countries even passed legislation declaring specific cereal brands illegal on Tuesdays. The press, of course, fanned the flames mercilessly. Articles appeared daily, with titles like "The Subject Eats," "The Planet Trembles," "NASA Confirms," "You May Control the Weather." And breaking, Elon Musk secretly funds your breakfast research lab. Comment sections were flooded with theories connecting your choice of napkin color to climate change, stock market volatility, and interstellar diplomacy. Every mundane decision you made, from sneezing to microwaving lasagna, became subject to expert analysis, viral memes, and conspiracy podcasts with millions of subscribers. By the end of Part 3, you had reached the apex of absurd fame. You were simultaneously a global influencer, a scientific anomaly, a meme deity, and, most critically, a fully documented variable in Elon Musk's vast, incomprehensible simulations of reality. The world, it seemed, could no longer function without monitoring your next move. The next breakfast choice, the next scroll, the next sneeze, each had the potential to reshape planetary alignment, social media algorithms, and possibly the emotional stability of anyone who had ever laughed at a cat meme. Somewhere, in a quiet corner of the multiverse, aliens were whispering, "This is unusual," while Elon Musk sipped his espresso, and the U task force convened to debate whether cereal or oatmeal would be safer for Earth's survival. And in the middle of it all, you simply considered reheating last night's spaghetti, blissfully unaware that the cosmos itself had decided your actions were now, officially, a matter of universal consequence.